do I really need a coach? Do I really need an advisor? Or is there something more effective for business owners today? That's the question we're going to focus on today. We're going to help answer this on today's episode of Above the Noise. Hi, and welcome back to Above the Noise. As you know, I'm Christy Wilson, and this is something that came up in the last couple of weeks, and it's just been, something that I've talked about during some networking events with business owners. And I believe that this is a conversation that every business owner really needs to hear right now. Actually, it's funny, our name Above the Noise came from the idea of rising above all of the noise, above all of the advice, above what everyone else is doing, and really creating your own, right? Standing out. We live in a world today where, let's be honest, everyone has advice. And that's okay. I'm not saying it's bad. But everyone has advice, everyone has a strategy, everyone has the perfect magical framework, and they'll be quick to tell you why nothing else works except this framework that you need to purchase from them. Yet, somehow, people are still stuck and buying all the frameworks and paying for all the coaching and going to all the classes. So, today we're going to talk a little bit about the truth behind coaches, advisors, and the one thing most people don't even know exists. It is a term that was created by my partner and friend, Jimmy Lee, and it's called the force multiplier, right? So we'll get into what that is shortly. But this episode, just to warn you, is probably going to challenge a little bit about how you think about business growth and what might fit your current needs. So, without further ado, let's jump right into it. Let's talk first about purpose versus growth, right? So, we've talked in previous episodes about finding your purpose. And that can be difficult for some, and it can be a bit of a journey, but finding your purpose isn't always the hardest part, right? That's a process, but once you have it, you then know your purpose, right? This is kind of my purpose, and deep down, Christy, I know exactly what I'm meant to do. I might not know how I'm going to do it or who I'm going to do it for, but I know what I'm meant to do, right? And then the second piece is we want to turn that purpose into something that actually grows, not only for you, but also for others to help benefit them. Right? Helping others, and then in turn, that comes back and helps us. So I think this is where a lot of business owners and people get stuck. And here's what I have learned. It's not that they're stuck because they don't have the talent to do it or the know-how. It's not that they don't have the passion, usually. It's not that they don't have enough of the training. Most of them, once they know what they're doing, sure, we can always grow and learn, but they have the knowledge. But today people are overloaded with advice, and they are actually starving for execution. It's the key missing puzzle piece, right? And that leads us into my second point. Everyone is a coach problem. It's a problem. Everyone's a coach. And this is, let me start with saying this in love, saying this with respect, saying this no disrespect toward anyone who is a legitimate coach helping someone. But I feel this still needs to be said, right? So here it comes out of my mouth. Everyone today is a coach. I'm sorry. I don't care who it is. They've done it once. They're a coach. Everyone is selling something. Everyone has a framework. It is the magic missing piece that's going to finally take you to where you are looking to go, whether that's personally, business, whatever it is, growth-wise. And here's one of the problems with that. We have confused learning with growing. Whoa, Christy, learning is growing. Oh, learning is a part of growing, but we've confused the two. We've confused information with actual transformation, all right? We've confused knowing what to do with actually doing the doing. We're not doing it. We just know, right, in our head. So most people I talk to, most business owners, most parents, most people, they don't need another course. They don't need another coach. They actually need help building and executing whatever it is that they're looking to launch, grow, scale, etc. So let's talk a little bit about advisors, right? And where they may fall short. So what about advisors? Advisors are super smart, right? Absolutely. I advise all the time. They have done big things. Am I discounting that? Absolutely not. And should we learn from them? Absolutely, 110%. They've seen patterns. They've seen experience. They've seen it all. And we should absolutely learn those insights. We should listen to them. But the thing about advisors is they tell you what to do. They don't do it with you. The majority, right? They don't do it with you. They're advising. That's the definition. They're advising you of what to do, right? They're teaching, they're training. It's important. It's an important piece. So you go to these meetings, you go to these events, you pay for these tickets, you pay for these classes, and you leave the workshop or the meeting with this long list and you're so excited, right? And you go back to real life and then nothing happens, right? Not because the advice was bad. The insights were amazing. The advice was sound, but because of the fact that advice without execution changes absolutely nothing. It will make no difference. Knowledge without action is useless. It's just knowledge. So, question comes in, right? When do you need a coach? When do you need an advisor? And when do you need Jimmy Lee's term force multiplier? Right? Okay, good. So before we dive any deeper into any of that, I want to really break something down super simply, right? Or super simple, I should say. Because number one, I'm not against coaches. And I am absolutely not against advisors. I think that they are a super valuable resource. There is a time and a place for everything. And if you're in that time or you're in that place, then absolutely 100% move forward on that. Just most of the businesses I've been coming into, most of the people I've been working with, most of the parents I'm working with, they don't realize which one they need at what stage of the game or at all. So they pick the wrong support and then they're disappointed. They're out money. They're confused. They're still where they started. They're still at stage one and they're wondering why they're stuck there. So let's break that down just a little bit and talk about what these roles are and when they're appropriate. So number one, a coach. A coach is great if you just need accountability. Just being honest, right? That's what a coach is, right? Think of a life coach. Think of a fitness coach. You're working on your confidence. You're building your habits. You need help understanding your own mindset, right? Or you need help spiritually, you need help somewhere like that. A coach is fantastic. You're early in your journey. You're trying to figure out where you fit as a leader, where you fit in business. Maybe you need some biblical coaching. Absolutely. Coaching 100% matters, but it's not going to build the business for you. It's not going to build the following for you. It's not going to build the curriculum for your kids, your homeschool. It's not going to do the things. It's not the doer, right? It supports you, not your systems, and does not do for you. A coach supports you, and that's what they're supposed to do. And there is a time and a place for that. Okay, moving to an advisor. An advisor is great when you need someone to help you see things you can't, your blind spots, right? You're making these high-level decisions. You're making decisions you've never made before. You're navigating uncharted territory. So you need some clarity. You need some direction. You need someone's experience. You need someone who can see it from the outside. You want to talk strategy. You want to talk risk. You want to talk structure, leadership, positioning. That's where sometimes those advisory services can really give you wisdom. Right? But again, advisors don't execute the work. They advise, they give you valuable insights, they give you valuable information for you to take and utilize, take action on, right? And the big part that a lot of people miss is that because we're inundated today, most business owners, most parents, most people, they don't need more coaching. They don't need more advisory. They actually are overloaded with knowledge. They know what to do. They know the strategy. They've attended all the workshops. They've attended all the classes. They've read it all. They've gained a lot of the insights, read the books, gone through the events. So they're not lacking necessarily in the information area. They're lacking implementation or execution. They're lacking the ability to go, to do, to press yes, and to make it happen. Okay. That, if you're at that stage, that's where you need the force multiplier, right? Well, what's a force multiplier? Glad you asked. A force multiplier is what you need when you have something, you have the momentum, you might even have customers, you might have the curriculum, you might have whatever it is that you're building. You have a mission, right? You have your purpose, you have your mission, but you now need help turning that into actual results and something scalable, something repeatable, something profitable if it's a business, something predictable. You need those things. You need someone to actually do the doing or start the doing or push the doers to do the doing. So a force multiplier is really for the founder who says, hey, I'm not confused or maybe I'm just inundated with everything that hasn't worked, right? I'm just tired of being stuck between the knowing, between the information overload where I'm frozen, I'm paralyzed because I don't know which direction to go. And I don't know how to go about it, right? I need someone to come in and do it. I need someone to do it with me. A coach works on the person, an advisor works on the strategy, but a force multiplier works on all of those things and works on the business itself, on the goal at hand, on the set achievement of results, right? Getting there, that they actually get you there. And most founders, most directors, managing partners, whoever it might be, they don't know that this option is even out there because all they've seen is the coaches and the advisors. But I'll tell you, when Jimmy told me, once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Just saying, that is the moment that things are going to shift and your perspective is going to change. And actually whether it's a good coach, advisor, force multiplier, they should be shifting your perception. They should be showing you something that you didn't see and now you can't unsee it. So story goes, I really was talking with Jimmy Lee, and he is amazing at achieving results in a very short period of time, right? 90 days or less, the whole team. And he says something that stops me. He said, we are not an advisor. We are not coaching. We are not any of those things. And we don't want to be associated with that. This is a force multiplier. That's what this is. And I paused and I thought, but you are doing some advising. You are sharing this. Sure, you are doing those things. But the missing piece is a force multiplier doesn't point at the mountain, right? And say that's where to go. They actually climb it with you, lifting you and the team up and building the structure to be able to get up to the top of the mountain, right? Get to that peak. They give you the light bulb moments, but then they actually go and start flipping the light switches everywhere else and doing it, right? That's what they do. And so that it literally is a force multiplier, whether that's coming in and building the team, whether that is coming in and providing the strategy and then making sure it's executed on to get those measurable results, right? They will, of course, first connect you to your purpose and to measurable numbers and goals, because let's be honest, passion without metrics, it's not going to scale, right? Okay. Second thing that they do is they embed execution inside of your business, inside of your strategy, inside of your plan. They don't talk about it. They don't educate you on it. They don't make some notes for you to take away. They don't just make the plan for it. They actually help you do it and achieve it, right? That's the big thing, is they get you the results. They get you the ROI. And then third, they really help protect your focus, because in reality, most people don't need 92 ideas. You don't need 92 ideas. You need the 2 or 3 that actually move you toward growth, toward where you're going. So a force multiplier helps bring that clarity in and then actually push the go button. And they're the ones going. They're the pushers, right? They multiply your impact. That's what a force multiplier does. And they do that by helping you to execute the right things at the right time, in the right order, and they give you the right resources to do it, whatever that means, right? Yeah. So that's the difference between force multiplier, advisor, and coach. And again, there's just so much out there. It's so easy to hear contradictions, be confused, inundated. But if you are at a stage where you're ready to execute, you're ready to take action, you've heard it all, you probably don't need another coaching program, another advisor. And guess what? Or a framework someone's going to sell you, but that's what's going to come up in your feed in front of you, right? Just an example, I was actually just talking with Jimmy, and they had this example where they had this private equity firm. They had the purpose, or they had this firm. They had the purpose. They had the structure, not the structure. They had the ideas. They had the knowledge, but not the structure for the Series A raise, right? They were right on the edge, but the business wasn't aligned right, and they had some things out of place. And so while they were using these frameworks and strategies that aren't bad, they're good, they were not executing properly. So when Jay Lee stepped in with the team, they were able to rebuild that, right? Connected mission to measurable economics, right? They aligned the whole operation. Everything was lined up. They, I'll use my term now. Jimmy's turn's over, right? They rose above the noise. They focused the founder where they needed to go and drove execution. Therefore, what was the result? Well, it was a $15 million Series A. Right? 200% lift. So something like that is really your force multiplier. And, you'll hear when that's actually what's happening, when that comes in, you're going to hear, we actually moved forward. We grew. This was the increase. This was the result. Not, well, we did this and this is working over here with this over here. No, this is the measurable result, right? So that's going to be your difference between collecting advice and insights and then executing and taking action on what matters. All right, so what does that mean for you? Let's tie it all back because we're already coming up on time for today's episode. I'm going to ask you a question. The question I'm going to ask, are you stuck? If you're someone who feels stuck in whatever it is they're doing, I don't care if it's business, I don't care if it's something in parenting, I don't care if it's educational, if it's personal, in your career, are you stuck? And then the next question is, are you stuck because you don't know enough? or because you haven't acted on what you already know and you're stuck and don't know how to execute step by step, or you just don't have the time, you don't have the resources to execute, right? Are you waiting for the next big idea? Or do you need someone who helps you build that idea, push the button, and actually build out what you need and do the doing? Like I said, most businesses that I come into, most situations I come into career-wise, most people are not just, that one strategy away, that one framework away. They're one action away. That's right. They're one action away. One correctly aligned partner away. One force multiplier away. And when you have that right force multiplier, guess what happens? Everything accelerates. Everything accelerates forward and very quickly. So if you're willing to invest in that, if you're ready to do that and you're at that stage, remember that advice is everywhere, right? Insights are everywhere. Not saying they're not valuable, but they're everywhere. Coaches are everywhere. Everyone's a coach. You did it once, you read a book on it, you're a coach, right? I'm just being honest. Just being honest. Information is everywhere, especially in today's day and age. You can look anything up. You can watch anything on YouTube. You can ask AI anything, but execution is rare. And execution is what's going to change everything, that action. So if you're at that stage where you are ready for not just clarity, but structure, momentum, and execution, then go check out a force multiplier. jlee.com, JLEE.com is great. You can reach out to me. I'm happy to answer any questions as well. But I hope that helps a lot of people in understanding why they are paying for the coaching. They're paying for the advice. They're paying for the insights. They're paying for the workshops. They have notes and notebooks full, notepads on their phone full of info, but nothing ever comes of it. It's because we're missing out on the action piece, the execution, and that is the most difficult part. It's what I tell people all the time. I will tell you how to do anything. I was on the phone with someone new yesterday, a potential client. I was helping them out with something else. It was a referral in, and I spent an hour with them, gave them every last strategy, and they took notes, and they were so excited. And then at the end, they came back and said, you know what, though? I'm overwhelmed. I don't know that I can do the doing of all these pieces. Can you help? So don't be afraid to give the knowledge. In fact, you should be sharing your insights, your experiences to help other people. I try to do that every day. But a lot of times it's the execution and the action piece that actually fails, right? Or does not move forward. So keep that in mind. Thank you so much for joining us on Above the Noise today. I look forward to seeing you next time. And again, if you need to read up on Force Multiplier, JLEE.com can give you some more insight around that. Till next time.